Friends, welcome to this 20 to 30 minute set, depending on how many rounds you choose to do. If you're sticking with me, it's probably gonna be somewhere between 20 to 30 minutes. We're gonna warm up today with a kettlebell, so you will need something that's kind of on the lighter side. We're gonna do some good mornings with it, but a little different than we did in a previous session this week. We also have some advanced cat-cows, some fun stuff in that, but the real thing is we're gonna practice a few more single arm swings and add some push-ups in a ladder format to really get our heart rates up before hitting a back of body session. We're gonna go for staggered stance RDLs today with 2 kettlebells or dumbbells, so you wanna make sure you have those. You can also substitute a trap bar if you're wanting to go really heavy today for this one. It definitely works for that, or a barbell. We have bench rows, so you wanna make sure you have a bench or a chair or something sturdy today that you can rest your knee on. If you don't, I'll give you an option for that. And then we also have some hip thrusts and some goblet press to eccentric pull down. That's kind of a kettlebell trick to get some vertical pulling feels in. If you have access to a pull-up bar or a lat pull-down machine, if you're in a gym, feel free to substitute with pull-ups, banded pull-downs, or an actual seated lat pull-down with a nice RPE 8 weight on that. We'll talk a little more about the program as we go through this warm-up set. So we're just gonna go through one round of this. We're gonna get some staggered good mornings on the left side. Then we're gonna take them on the right side, followed by some advanced cat-cows. And I might throw in a little advanced bird dog for you guys too. So go ahead and pick out a weight that feels something kind of moderate. And remember, in our staggered position, we're gonna emphasize the front leg a lot. So the front leg really should be bearing most of the weight. The back leg is there just to help you stay forward. I like to move the back knee slightly in. So that could be for you angling your back toes a little bit in. We're gonna take these good mornings supported on that front leg side, trying not to let our hips shift out to the side, so hips still going back. So go ahead, bring your bell behind your back. Remember, we're not gonna pick it up behind the back. We are going to actually pick it up and then bring it behind the back. Put all of your weight in the front foot. I would say let's go on your right side today for the first one. Scoot your left leg back and then turn those toes slightly in with the back knee slightly in. From here, we're gonna stick our butt back. Remember, whenever we are doing a stagger, you wanna think of your knee not going forward. You don't wanna think of your knee being straight, and see my shin, it's kind of at an angle here. I wanna try to go for that shin staying straight up and down. So I should feel my weight coming into the forward part of my foot as my hips go back. I'm really trying to flatten my foot here and push through the big toe bed of that foot as I lift my booty cheeks in the air and kind of send my tailbone up into the sky. Back knee is pulling in towards my front leg side. So I'm sticking my booty back as I do this. We're gonna go through this for another just about 10 seconds. And if it's a little bit too much with the weight for you, drop the weight and practice hinging your hips, maybe with your arms out in line here in that position. You'll go ahead and set your bell down in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Shake your legs out a little. We're gonna take around 20 seconds just to shake that side out. We are doing the staggered RDLs today, so this is gonna fall or flow, I guess, into that position. Your leg position will not change when we go to that. Let's go ahead and pick your bell up on your other side. 3, 2, and 1. So bell comes behind our back. I'm gonna send my opposite leg back, maybe turn those toes in slightly. Start by standing up tall. I didn't really do that as well on the first rep on the other side. And then send your hips back. So again, my left leg is forward. I'm thinking of all my weight going into that left side. I'm thinking about pushing through my front foot. I am not gonna be going all the way down to the ground with the weights today. Romanian deadlift means that we do not touch the ground. We have minimal knee bend. Conventional or traditional, you will go all the way to the ground. Typically, there's a little bit more knee bend involved in that. So Romanian deadlifts, typically we are not lifting as much because we are holding that weight off the ground for the entire time. It doesn't get to rest on the ground between rep sets. So just a little different stimulus here, a lot of hamstring in this one. Keep this position in your head and your body, because again, we are mimicking, we're doing the same thing later on with some heavier weights. This is just getting us warm. You're gonna be here for less than 10 seconds, and then we're gonna go down to the floor with no weight. We're gonna hit an advanced cat-cow. You're gonna keep your knees down on the floor in your regular cat-cow. If the advanced is a little too much for you, go ahead, bring your weight down. 3, 2, and 1. So come onto the floor now. So for advanced, all you're gonna do is lift your knees up in your quadruped position. For your regular, you're gonna leave your knees down. We're just gonna get some expansion in our back, some flexion, some extension, working on our breathing. So bring your hands down here. Let's look down to the center part of our hands. If you're lifting your knees, elevate them 2 to 3 inches. If you're keeping them down, leave them there. I want you to keep your chin where it is. Squeeze your upper back muscles together. Breathe in. breathe out, push them away. Do that again. Squeeze them together, breathe in, breathe out, push them away. Breathe in, breathe out, push them away. You're gonna remember this for push-ups that are coming up next. Breathe in, push away. I want you to give me 2 more here. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and rest your wrists for a second. We're gonna take a few bird dogs here, which is just a reach out, keeping our feet flexed, keeping the toes pointed down, keeping the gaze down, not looking up. Advance, you're gonna lift your knees and do the same thing. It's opposite arm and leg. Let's go 3, 2, and 1. So advance, you're here. We're gonna go about 20 seconds. You're gonna try to think of pulling all your weight to the midline. More intermediate, we're here. If you're someone that loses your core and arches your back, I want you to stay with your knees down and think of pulling your belly button back into your spine and then reaching really long. Keep your chin tucked. We're gonna reach, 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 reach. The reach is important. Don't sacrifice that to bring your knees off the floor. You're gonna be here for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. I want you to think of the position of your back in that cat-cow, because when we move into this push-up ladder, you want your back to be moving as you bring your chest to the floor and bring your body up. So go ahead and grab a single arm swing weight belly. You can swing for at least 6 reps, should be moderate, and we'll go ahead and get started on this ladder. Get our heart rates up. We're gonna work a push-up and a single arm swing. Love that. So we're gonna start with a ladder and finish with ladder, I guess, too. 6 is the number we're starting with. We're going all the way down to 1. So 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 reps. The goal is that you keep moving through this without stopping and resting too much. So I'm gonna stop and give us check-ins as we do this, but 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that means single arm swings on both sides, followed by your push-ups for that same rep count. If those push-ups feel really easy for you, so like let's say 6 reps is a warm-up, you can double the sets of push-ups. So it would go 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2 instead of the 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The goal again is that you keep moving through this. I'm gonna do it and hope it takes around like 3-ish minutes. I'll give you guys a little extra time, but by no means, if it really freaks you out to do this on a timer, you can always fast forward through this or just let it happen. And if you're taking longer, just pause the set and go for it. When you're doing push-ups, I want you to think of what we just did with those advanced cat-cows. You're gonna think of as you come down, your shoulder blades pulling together. As you come up, pushing the ground away, rounding your upper back. I want you to think of your thumbs being in line with your chest, so they're not up at your shoulder height. And if you feel like you cannot do a push-up on the floor, you're going to raise your hands on a bench, come to your knees and keep a hollow position, or you can also use a wall and do those here. I would much rather you start in this position than going all the way to the floor and feeling like they're in your neck. This is meant to be a warm-up. This is not meant to be the hardest thing you've ever done, or to make you, burn yourself out on push-ups before we even get started in the rest of our sets. We're just doing this to warm our back up, even though our chest is involved a little. So let's go ahead and get started. We're gonna start with 6 single arm swings each side. This one should take you about 12 seconds each swing, 2 seconds each swing, so 12 seconds total for each side, and then we'll hit those push-ups. So let's go for it. Clock is on here. 3, 2, and 1. So remember from earlier in our sets this week, single arm swing should feel very fluid. Your opposite arm is moving back. We are breathing the exact same way that we do in 2 hand swings. I didn't really think the braid through for this set today. This is like the danger when you're swinging and something like whips you in the face. You don't want that to happen if you have long hair. Okay, so for your push-ups, we're gonna line ourselves up here. Hands can be about that chest width apart. You're going to make sure your elbows are going out to the sides at about a 45-degree angle. Pushing the ground away as we go up. And making sure that we are breathing. You really want to grip the ground as you do this. Okay, so that first set took me about a minute to do. So the next one is gonna take similar. Obviously, as we do this, it's gonna take less and less amount of time. So if you're staying with me, go ahead and join me for the 5 sets of single arm swings. If you're doubling those push-ups, you better be able to bang them out pretty fast. Here we go. 3, 2, and 1. And with good form. Okay, let's hit your 5 reps of your push-up. I'll do these ones on the wall so you can see that. I'll come up to my tiptoes, still making sure that my thumbs are in line with my chest. Those of you that are taking these on a bench, think of your belly button moving towards the bench and keeping your weight in the front parts of your hands. You don't want it to move back too far. Okay, we're gonna hit our 4 rep set. Give you guys about 10 seconds to finish up that set of push-ups. If you're still working through those higher rep counts, let's go ahead and go for it. Single arm swings, big 4 reps. We're here, 3, 2, and 1. Remember, as we do these sets, I want you to think of keeping the integrity of your breath. You want to use a kettlebell that is not so heavy that it is slowing you down today. As you do your push-ups, think of using your feet. Push your heels back actively in space. Try to keep your quad squeezing, your butt squeezing. We have our set of 3. So as we do this, we are only doing as many reps total now as we did in the first set. So let's go ahead, get our 3 set of swings in 3, 2, and 1. Bell comes down, we'll go ahead, hit our push-ups for that set of 3 or 6 if you are doubling. I'll give you guys about 10 seconds to finish out your reps. We will hit the 2 and then the 1, and yes, we are going to do them separately. We're gonna go full on 2, full on 1, so no just doing 3 here. We wanna kind of transition these together. So let's do them all back to back without the little 10-second intermission. Let's do it together. Here we go, 3, 2, and 1. Bell comes down to the floor. Come on next to it. Okay guys, last set. I want strong swings, the best swings of your set. Let's get it. 3, 2, 1. Final push-up, cherry on top. Hands come down, wall or bench. Finish it out. Okay, you guys are finished with the warm-up. That is our little heart rate check. So it's a little upgrade from a warm-up, not quite a passive warm-up, but we should be nice and ready to get into our staggered RDLs. You will need your bench for the next set. We have hip thrusts coming up too, so make sure it's really sturdy, and we will get started. All your bells, all your equipment should be ready to go into your strength sets. My bench has entered the chat, and a small disclaimer, those of you that have been with me for a while know that I have, at this point in my life, a puppy, and she decided to, you know, maul the bench the other day. So I flipped it around so you don't have to look at the terribly taped up part, but know that if your bench isn't in the best condition, it's all good. You can still get your shit done, which I will do today. So we're gonna go into those staggered deadlifts. I want you to have 2 kettlebells on the sides of your bod. You'll be able to flip your hands forward when you do this if it feels more comfortable, or you can keep them here. So whatever feels best for you. We're gonna go for 8 reps each leg. Get out your trap bar, get out your barbell. If you're gonna take an RPE set for 8, you want to RPE 8 for the 8 reps. Then we're going to use the bench for bench rows, which means that one knee will be on, your shoulder will be stacked over your wrist, and you're pulling here, getting a full range of motion, which means you can reach kind of low and then get a little rotation. If that is not happening for you because you do not have a bench, you're always going to take a hinge row here. So you're just going to hinge your body, hold yourself up with your abs, and pull a little harder. So I would go a little lighter for that. Harder in the sense of you don't have support from the bench. So this allows you to go a little heavier because you're not loading the rest of your bod. You can do a little more isolation. Then we're going to use the bench for hip thrusts and for those goblet presses to eccentric pull down. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go for some big weights for those 8 reps. It's only 8 reps, so I want this to be heavy for you. Let's go ahead and start with your dominant side forward. And again, as always, if you have mixed weights like I do here, you're going to switch them at this point, and maybe consider doing 4 rounds just to even yourself out instead of 3. Okay, let's go ahead and pick your weights up. Clock is on here, or your rep count is on in 3, 2, and 1. So I'm always thinking of that back knee slightly turning in. I like to move my back knee side weight towards the instep of my front foot and then let that other weight just kind of hover down my leg. In this case, I'm still again thinking of my weight being in the forward part of my foot and sticking my butt back. When you finish your 8th rep, you're going to step your foot in, bring your weights down, stand up fully, and shake your hands out. I'm gonna give you guys close to 30 seconds or so between your rep sets. You can take as much time as you need to recover, especially if you're barbell lifting through this. If you're not using the video and you're just using this first part for the demo, that's all good. Let's go ahead and get ready to do our other side. You can, definitely watch that part and then take something like, if it's heavy, I would say about a minute rest between, or I should say after the lift. So we'll go ahead and hit your 8 reps again. So this is what it looks like about from the front. I'm kind of turning my back knee in slightly, lifting my butt as it goes back, trying to keep everything centered to the front and bringing the back leg side weight towards my midline. Again, I'm thinking of my hips leading the way by going back behind me. I'm not leading with the kettlebells down. If you think of the kettlebell going down or the weight going down, you might go down too far and round your back. After you finish that, let's go ahead and get set up for your rows. This is where I want you to be a little discerning on your rep count. 8 is great if your weight is heavy. I want you to go up to 10, maybe push a little more to an RPE 8 for you if your weight is not heavy. I want you to get full range of motion though. So if you're only able to pull here, that's a little too much. I want you to really crank that weight back. Little trick is to turn your kettlebell on the side, hold the handle furthest part away from you. Make sure your shoulder is over your wrist. Let's get ready to pull. 3, 2, and 1. If you have kind of long arms like I do, it's very normal that your weight might touch the floor. That is totally acceptable. In this, it won't happen as much if you have a dumbbell. I'm just gonna move that to the side so you guys don't have to get a booty view of me doing this. Go ahead, hit your other side for those 8 reps. We're doing 3 rounds of this total. Weight comes down. Next set, I'm going to show you a different angle of the pulls. So we can go ahead and go through that. Let's go ahead and get out your weights to go into your deadlifts for your next set. Remember, after your deadlifts, if you are lifting heavy with a barbell or a trap bar, I think it's a good idea to pause the video, take about a 60-second rest break, or you can do this section without the video help if you do not need it for this part, or sometimes it's not even help, it's like having someone to keep you on track. If that helps you, by all means keep the talking going and just pause it to get that extra rest break. Okay, we don't need a lot of rest if we're using kettlebells or dumbbells in between these 2 transitions, so we're gonna try it again. I want you to think about a strong pickup. You can do it from the hinge position with the stagger or just your regular hinge. Let's go ahead, go for it. 3, 2, and 1. So my hips go back. I'm trying to think of keeping my chin neutral the entire time here, keeping my armpits squeezing really tight. So if you're limp here, it's gonna make it a lot harder to hold on to the bells without them feeling like they're dropping towards the floor. So I want you to try to squeeze them really hard and think about squeezing the armpit to the side of the body, kind of like you're holding on to like a little towel right here. I've even had people put like a piece of fabric. Be careful if you do this with like paper because you could get a paper cut, but something tactile that you can actually squeeze there can sometimes help with that feeling. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and hit your opposite side. So even if you're using a barbell or a trap bar, you've got to switch and get your other leg. Remember, this is a single side movement here. So we're stimulating that one side at a time. Let's go. 3, 2, and 1. Hips go back. Definitely a little more of a strength focus session today. This is not the same as the high heart rate session that we did before this. This will definitely get your heart rate up if your weights are heavy, but it's a different feeling than doing a push press, right? Weights can come down to your sides when you finish that one. So you could consider going a little bit heavier for your bench rows. Here's a really lovely view of the puppy disaster right there. My first dog, story time, was not super into like mutilating furniture and whatnot, but my female dog, the puppy, she is quite mouthy in many ways, both talking and biting. So we had the casualty. Our couch had a small casualty as well. Let's go ahead, get your rows on your first side. We'll go 3, 2, and 1. So here's this little flip. Notice how I'm pulling back towards my hip bone. Those of you that get up into your traps when you row, it could be because you're pulling upwards instead of pulling back. So it really should be like your wrist moving towards your hip bone as you do this. And I think it helps to have the kettlebell a little in front of you instead of starting it down here with that pull up. If you turn it like I am here, it's naturally going to do that. Good, bell comes down, we'll take that little break. Okay, so last set coming up here in our stagger position. Let's move the bench this way. And if at any time the stagger is not feeling good in your back, I would go to a bilateral stance. So go back here and practice this motion first before you bring it onto one leg. That's a really good solution to start getting better at this. And realizing where you're bearing the weight in your feet as you do this. Okay, so let's go ahead, start getting ready for your first set with your stagger. Remember, if your weights are mixed like mine, not ideal for you, but you could add a 4th round to even out your other side. Okay, let's go ahead and I guess honestly, yeah, you would need to because you're gonna need to switch the weight distribution. Let's go ahead and pick those bells up. 3, 2, and 1. So you can be here, step it in, and then arrange your feet. Turn the back toes in slightly so that knee kind of goes in. So those of you that are using a very big kettlebell, you'll notice that the 16 kilos sits lower than that 24 over there. You might not hit the ground with some of the lighter weight styles, sizes, and you might hit the ground with some sizes. It also could depend on how long your arms are. So if you touch the ground with your bells, it doesn't necessarily mean you're leading with the bells. It might just mean that you have long arms and that your bells are big, so they're longer. Doesn't happen as often with dumbbells and definitely not with barbells. Let's go ahead, pick your bells up. 3, 2, and 1. So minimal knee bend. Weights can come down towards the floor. Shake it out, stand it up. We'll move your biggest bell off to the side. If you have the bell that you've been using to row out, go ahead and bring it over towards your bench or into your hinged position here. Whew, so much fun, guys, today. I'm wondering if my braid is messed up from those swings. If it is, it's a casualty of lifting. Happens to the best of us. Okay, let's go ahead and get your opposite side. Line yourself up. Let's come into position. 3, 2, and 1. And by opposite side, I mean your first side. Last set here. Good, go ahead and rest there. Let's go ahead and switch to your opposite side. Hand comes down. We're gonna flip the bell. Let's go for it. 3, 2, and 1. Just start right away. That's it, guys. Bring that belt down. We have finished our first set of 3 rounds. We're gonna do one more set of 3 rounds with our hip thrusts and our goblet eccentric presses. Remember, you wanna have a pull-up bar handy if you are going to do pull-ups or chin-ups today, or also lat pull down. Strength set, we're going to be working single leg hip thrusts, which you can do body weight all the way up to weighted. I prefer a dumbbell for this one, just resting on the working leg side hip, so the downside. You can also just cradle a kettlebell and hold it there for another weighted version. I want you to be able to get 10 full reps though, so make sure that you're picking something that's doable for you. We'll do each side, and then we'll go for 5 goblet presses to eccentric pull down. So we're gonna emphasize the down part of the pull to really work the backs of our arms and our back. You wanna make sure you have a kettlebell that is moderate to light for this one, because it is going to get heavy as we concentrate on that eccentric. We're gonna go through this 3 rounds. To set yourself up for your hip thrust, you're going to make sure that the back is on the edge of the bench. So if you need to prop your booty up with something, that might be for you. My bench is a little bit tall for me, so you can see it's hitting me at the top of my shoulder blades. You also wanna make sure you're not gonna lean back, so you might, or the bench is gonna fall back with you, so you might need to push it into a wall if that is the case. Once you're there, we're gonna lift one leg up and just go up and down for 10 reps. You will hold your weight on your side to execute doing this with weights. Let's go ahead and get started here. So roll onto your bench, find your spot with your shoulder blades resting at the edge. Chin should stay tucked. If I'm gonna go with my right leg here weighted, I'm just gonna hold the kettlebell here, move my booty towards the ground. I'm not arching my back, so I want you to think of this one kind of like you do with your single leg hip bridges, which can also be a nice modification, especially if you do not have a bench for this one today. So you're gonna execute your 10 reps there, and then the weight can come either to the center or to the other side to move it through. I'm gonna show you guys a round of these with body weight on my other side. Once you finish your 10, go ahead and maneuver into your next side. Again, make sure you don't catch your braid on your back here. Push your back into the bench. Go ahead, lift your other leg, come down and up. This could be plenty for you with body weight here. If you feel this too much in your neck and you're taking a body weight, hands again can come behind your head, just like so. We wanna keep this other leg in an active position. So you're gonna flex those toes back and make sure you're pushing actively through the floor on the working leg. Finish up those 10 reps, and then you're gonna hit your goblet press to eccentric pull down. 2 options for these. If you wanna use your bench and do these from a seated position, if this feels more comfortable for you, you can go there, or you can do these from a standing position. I'll show you both as we go through rounds of this. So go ahead, finish up those hip thrusts, and you're going to sit on your bench with your feet firmly planted on the floor, knees over the ankles, or standing in a tall plank position, shoulders over hips. Let's bring your belt to your chest. We're gonna press it overhead and then pull it down for 3. Squeeze it, 2, 1, bring it to the chest. Go again, up, pull it down and in front of you, 3, 2, 1, into the chest. Straight up in the air, down in front of you, 3, 2, 1, and into the chest. Actively pull it. I want you to push your hands into the handle as you do that. Lift it up. Think of lowering yourself slowly from a pull-up bar, even if you've never done that before, as you do this. Okay, we're gonna go into your next round of your hip thrust. I'm gonna show you how to do this on the floor if you feel like the bench is not for you, or if you don't have one. So go ahead, get situated onto your bench. You can bring your weight to your thigh with me if you're on the floor, just like so. My thumbs are wrapped around the handle. My other leg is at a 90-degree angle with flexed feet. Let's go ahead, go for it. 3, 2, and 1. So if you're doing this on the floor, your heel is snuggled in towards your booty. You're pulling it actively towards you as you lift the hips in space. That weight is just nesting itself or resting itself on, I guess it could be either your hip. It could also be just cradled by your thumbs if it's feeling a little bit too much there. Find your core before you come into this by pulling your belly button back slightly and just kind of hardening there. You don't have to have your back fully flat to the floor to find your abs in your core. Some of us have a little more natural curvature of the spine. Totally okay, but you don't want to be leading up with your rib cage. We want to be thinking of controlling it and finding whatever neutral is for you, a place where you can breathe into your diaphragm. When you're finished there, the bell will come off to the side and then you'll roll over. I'll give you guys on the bench a few more seconds to finish this one out before we go into eccentric pull downs for the next round. I'll actually do this one standing this time so you can see it. Adjust all the things. I feel like whenever I wear shorts, and I just did the whole wrong outfit for this class, like shorts for this, the hair, all the things are not going, but if you gotta like pull things around a lot, it could be the outfit, it could be the workout, it could be a combo of both. I'm going with both. Let's go ahead and get your eccentric pull downs in 3, 2, and 1. So from standing, I'm gonna have a tight booty. I'm gonna pull it down, squeeze it, 3, 2, 1, right into my chest. Notice how it comes out slightly in front of me and then pulls into my chest. You can do this with the dumbbell too, just squeezing on the sides of it as you move. We'll breathe out. Bell comes slightly in front. Pull it down and in. Think of using your back. This is more about this down phase, using your back muscles, than it is about pushing it over your head, less about the press. Okay, guys, let's go ahead. Get ready for that third set. This is it. We are finished with our session after this. All the booty. You could do this with a heavier weight too. You can definitely do single leg hip thrusts with a barbell. I would say again, if you're using a barbell for this set, take a little more rest breaks here for this. You probably will need them because you're definitely going to be going heavier than what you could hold with a kettlebell or dumbbell on your bod. Okay, situate yourself in here. This is one reason why hip thrusts sometimes are not my favorite, because they can be just kind of awkward to get into. Let's go ahead, hit your 10 reps. Love a hip thrust machine at a gym. If you guys are at a gym, I used to go to a gym that had one. It's so nice just to strap yourself into a machine and not have to worry about scooting under a barbell and then that first rep of lifting. I love doing these single leg versions as an accessory set for sure. If you're doing that bigger lift, these single leg versions are awesome, especially weighted. Okay, go ahead, find your other side when you get into there. There's no like cute way to get there. Just make sure you get yourself aligned with your back on the bench. Where should you be feeling these? Pretty much your entire leg on that working leg. Maybe not as much in the front in your quad, but definitely some hips, some booty, some hamstrings, groin, all those spots are, firing when you're hitting that hip thrust correctly. Try to, again, find that center part of your foot and push it down. Okay, last set for back. Pull-ups, I'm mentally there with you. I wish I had a pull-up bar in the nook, but just will not work in this spot. So I'm doing the kettlebell set with you guys. Pull-ups, I want you to really hold strong. Try to eke out that RPE 8 set to finish here. Let's go for it. 3, 2, 1. So I'm thinking of breathing in, breathing out, and maybe breathing out as I come down. You could take another in-breath at the top and then let that air out as you go down. I'm gonna hit 2 more here. Really squeeze that thing. The more tension you make happening in this, the more you're gonna get out of it. Okay, pull it down. One of the limitations with kettlebell training, it's a hard thing to get vertical pulling. So pull-up bars, lat pull-down machines, things that you can pull this way, very beneficial to add into your programs, which we're starting to do in Bells Up, especially the beta version of our sets that we're working through. Anyway, I will see you guys in your next session, which if you're following this program is more of a light mobility focused session. So we'll have fun with that. It's not a true strength training session, but a lot of the movements are gonna support a lot of the strength training sets in this program. I will see you guys very soon. Remember, get real, get strong, Bells Up. Bye.